If you get a phone call, I find this tends to happen with in-house recruiters. They tend to call and want to find out how much you're earning rather than telling you how much the role is paying. Don't fall into that trap. Hello and welcome to the Okwejon Show, where we simplify faith and finances. Let's talk about negotiating your salary. Generally, I find people tend to complain about how much they earn. They feel they're underpaid. But one important thing that we must remember is you said yes to your salary when you were taking on the role. So it's very important that no one forced you and you played your own part. But now let's change things around and let's talk about how we can negotiate salaries. There are two different points where we generally tend to get the opportunity to negotiate our salaries. And the first one is when we're changing jobs. The second one is if you're getting a promotion within the company that you already work for. Let's talk about changing jobs. First thing to do is when you get a phone call or you apply for a role that you want, make sure you know how much the role is paying. If you get a phone call, I find this tends to happen with in-house recruiters. They tend to call and want to find out how much you're earning rather than telling you how much the role is paying. Don't fall into that trap. Make sure you're the one asking them how much the role's paying. Because what happens is a lot of times they use that as leverage to pay less than what they can actually offer sometimes. No employer or no company goes and advertises a job without knowing what they're willing to pay for the role. You know, a lot of times this comes out in the form of bandings. You might find the role being advertised as paying anywhere between 45 and 50K. You find sometimes when you've told a recruiter, an in-house recruiter, you're earning 30K, they're probably looking to make an offer to you at 40K and save the company 10K. Remember, always ask how much the role is paying. And if it's in line with your expectation, of course, go for it. The second thing is always know what the market rate is for the jobs you're applying for. This helps you determine whether or not you should go ahead with even interviewing or not interviewing for a role. For example, if you have a finance manager job title on a job being advertised, but the role's only paying 25K, then you know there's a mismatch somewhere. I wouldn't even bother because you're definitely going to be underpaid for what you're expected to do. Always know what the market rate is. What influences the market rates for roles? It's the job title, the location, the industry or sector. For example, we know roles in the banking sector tends to pay more than commerce and industry pays. A role in London will most likely pay you more than a role in north of England, just because it's more expensive to live in the capital city than it is to live in north of England. So those are the factors that influence what the market rate is. So when you're aware of it, then you know what you should be asking for. No point asking for 70K if the job title you're looking to apply for doesn't pay anywhere near that. The third thing to note is always find out what the company benefits are. You might find some companies pay slightly less than market rates because they've got really good benefits. Find out what the bonus structure is within the company. Always worth finding out. I find a lot of people don't ask that question, but it's a very important question to ask. Find out if you're eligible for it, and if you're eligible for it, what unlocks the bonus pot. Always find these out. Pension contribution, how much is the employer's pension contribution? Are there health benefits? Are there any other, do you get any discounts or anything like that? You find sometimes, because the company offers so many benefits, they might pay slightly less than what the market rate is. It's still worth considering. Now, if you're in a position where you're negotiating a promotion or wanting a promotion in a company, it's an opportunity to renegotiate your salary. How do you do this? There's a few things I think is important to do. The second opportunity you get to negotiate your salary is when you become eligible for a promotion or when you're making a case for a promotion within the company you currently work in. There's a few things to note though. To qualify for a promotion, most times, not all the time, but most times, you should be taking on more responsibilities than what you're currently employed to do. You know, for example, if I'm in a HR business partner role, I need to be taking on more responsibilities. If I want to get promoted to become a HR manager, I need to be showing that I've got the capacity to take on that job, that new job title. And how I start to show this is by taking on new responsibilities that are beyond what I'm currently employed to do. Remember though, just because you do your job that you're employed to do excellently well does not automatically qualify you for a promotion. And I think many of us make this mistake. I've had to learn this the hard way. You've got to show that you've got capacity to take on more and you can do beyond what you're currently doing. The second thing is write down your objectives or your goals and work on them. They're not to be ignored because a lot of times these are the things that you can use to make your case for a promotion. The third thing is it's very important to be ambitious, and I like being ambitious, but your ambition should not be at the detriment of somebody else. Grow as much as you can within the company that you're in, and sometimes there isn't room for progression anymore, and it's okay to move on. Remember, you're ultimately responsible for your career. The next thing is, if you are being offered a promotion, always go back and have a look at what the market rate is for this new job title. You probably will get slightly less, or you might get slightly less than what the market is paying, but that's okay. Just make sure that the difference isn't too far off. You know, a lot of times I find many of us make a conversation about promotion or pay rises or negotiating our salaries within the company that we're working in an emotional conversation. It is not an emotional conversation. It's got to be factual and logical, and this is why it's very important to document your progression within the company. Document the new responsibilities that you're taking on outside of what you were originally employed to do. Make sure you're documenting those feedbacks that you're getting from your colleagues or even from senior members of the team. Make sure that you're writing it down, you're making notes of it, because all of this helps you to make your case. And finally, remember, your salary is something you've said yes to. And before you say yes, make sure you do your homework and you're happy with what you're being offered. If you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel, please subscribe so you're one of the first people to know when the next video drops.